Ethan can do a vibe check and know, you know, where his friends are at online, even if they're internet friends, even if they're, you know, you're just seeing their tweets mostly.
You don't know what's on my feed. What the?
I think he would need to lose a lot of money. But Ethan, as the example, would have to crash and burn and get hurt in like a very life-changing way. Not physically hurt necessarily.
Are you like still like boxing? Is that like a hobby you won't let go?
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with it. I really want to eventually get like a win.
I spent my last fucking 4 years working on this stupid boxing shit.
I mean, at this point, there's really no more people to fucking kick off the ship. It's all just a bunch of demons in your audience.
No, he doesn't need a hug. He needs a good fucking ass whooping is what he needs.
But yeah, hurt in some way, feel the fucking impact and the weight of, you know, his actions. Like, that's great.
I really care about this person a lot. He's doing some stuff that you guys are not able to see. He's doing effects. He's a well-known YouTuber, a former possibly reformed edgelord, a rapper.
Reformed gooner.
Some
Rapper?
a gooner. No, still a gooner at heart. A boxer. And
He's a
basically,
gooner?
I think, like a real boxer at this point.
And the first person to
Why
get
would you
canceled for
admit
not
that?
being racist.
Whoa, we gotta back up a few seconds. Okay, so he's a rapper, he's a gooner, and he's a reformed racist?
And basically, I think, like a real boxer at this point.
And the first person to get canceled for not being racist.
Yes. First person ever to be canceled for not being racist. Ian
That was
Joma,
definitely the case at the
aka
beginning,
IDubbbz.
but that's
IDubbbz,
not
welcome
the
to show.
case
How are you?
anymore.
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
It's very
buddy.
odd that,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I
That's
don't know
just so
exactly
weird.
what our exact plan was in terms of what we wanted to talk about today, but I think we wanted
You
to
didn't
talk
have a
about,
plan for
I don't know, we're an
interviewing a
internet show.
guest.
We talk about stuff that happens online.
Yeah,
And
It's gotta be,
I
like,
think we wanted to have you on,
messed up to look more casual.
because you've kind of gone through like a long-winded journey over the last couple of years that's been very public and a lot of people have a lot of thoughts about, and I think
I want to hear about it.
I think it's been a very
Tell me about
great
your journey, dude.
I very demonization, reactionary politics, and their numbers keep going up. You know, like people like Asmongold, the more they lean into like hate and all of this like
Okay.
right-wing rhetoric, that is personally beneficial to them. And you're a rare example of someone who has a large platform, who actively and publicly decided to not do that and go against that. And there's just not a lot of examples of high-profile people like that. At least in, like,
He didn't actively decide to go against that, or publicly go against it. Sorry, he did actively decide to... I don't even know if I would say go against it, because he never seemed very reactionary in the first place. I think that's just internet stuff, though. He said he was an edgelord, so he had to be reactionary. Whenever you can be edgy and not be reactionary. You know, Hassan says slurs. He doesn't say the ones that Americans don't like, but he certainly does say slurs. Yeah, he didn't like actively go against it until... Well, he did do that whole like apology tour where he did like a couple of interviews where he's like, I'm so sorry for being a racist. I didn't know I was racist, but then I... actually, there's some pretty funny thing later. I did kind of pre-watch this.
2025. And it's just fascinating.
Wait,
because
can
you
we
made, like, a very,
go back a few
like, that
seconds?
and publicly decided to not do that and go against that. And there's just not a lot of examples of high-profile people like that, at least in like 2025.
Well, Ian's not an example of it in 2025 there either. He did this in 2022 and 3 mostly. You know, just to be pedantic, he didn't do this in 2025. The big change was far previously. And I just don't see really like I just don't get where they're coming from, I guess. Also, who else like embraced reactionary politics in 2025? Their one example was Asmongold, who's been like this for like, oh god, 2 years maybe?
And it's just fascinating. Because you made like a very personal choice. I guess I'm just leading up to saying it's like, what led you to like actively decide to do this and like hinder your own growth maybe, but for like your own morals? Like, what was like the moment?
Oh man, I think it was well, before I answer that, quick question. I just had a thought. I see your name,
He has to stop people to think. He can't just like, it's very odd to not just like, I noticed a few people who also stream this where like he has to stop to think. I mean, that's definitely part of the issue. Isn't it more weird that he can't just segue correctly into like whatever he wants to talk about instead of being like, guys, I just had a minor brain activity.
Yes.
Are you the purple creature thing on
Very same.
Twitter?
Yes. Oh, yes, I am. Yeah,
Okay,
that's me.
awesome.
Hello.
Cool,
Yeah,
cool.
hi.
I like that.
And end of show.
Yeah, end the show now.
That's me.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Good to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you too. Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of different things. I think for one, I think touching
Did they not
grass-
get greetings out of the way before all this? Did they just like hit record as soon as Ian joined the Discord call?
in the form of my wife? You know, she was the grass in this case, and she was just. I mean,
My wife was the grass
always
I
wanted a
touched.
partner who
Good one,
challenged
buddy.
me, and Anisa was challenging me and my ideas about fucking everything. A lot, like I shouldn't say everything, many things, and.
It seems like she actually agreed with you at first, and then I don't know. It seems like as soon as okay, I have a lot of issues with this. I guess the first one is that Ian didn't particularly seem like a person who had a lot of beliefs in the first place. Not because he's like stupid. I mean, he might be now, but I think it's mostly because he just didn't care at all. Like he doesn't have any reason to care. I still don't think he has that much reason to care, and now he's like, my beliefs were challenged. What beliefs? What like this all just seems so what's the word? Oh fuck, there's like an actual word for it, but it feels like it's rewriting history. Where it's like Ian came off as like a liberal who didn't have that many beliefs. He's just like, I want good things, I don't want bad things, whatever. Like a normal person. He was edgy, sure, whatever. And then he was convinced to he was convinced that he was actually like evil and had horrible morals. That, or Ian actually was like an insane right-winger watching like Nick Fuentes and stuff right before like all of this. Because I don't know, even the most recent interaction with a right-wing person that's not just like adding them on Twitter was with Sam Hyde, who he challenged directly. So I really don't see anything relating to him having beliefs or having those beliefs changed whenever he, I guess, just got beliefs. I don't know.
And it was.
Oh, and then it seems like Anisa like changed all of her beliefs too, because she has I think they're mostly deleted now, although there's tons of archives of Anisa's beliefs of her being actually kind of like center right, starting to watch Hassan, and then just getting all of his beliefs, and then maybe she's not forcing, but like transmitting those to Ian.
It was slow and insidious, and it happened, you know, over time. And she just opened my eyes to like so many different things, you know, a woman's perspective in the world, and you know, from that it allowed me to think about a lot of other minority groups, you know, people who I don't often, you know, find myself empathizing with, or even, you know, just giving the time of day. And so
What? Wait, I need to hear that again.
Eyes to like so many different things, you know, a woman's perspective in the world, and you know, from that it allowed me to think about a lot of other minority groups, you know, people who I don't often, you know, find myself
You
empathizing
didn't think
with,
about you didn't empathize.
You know,
Oh
just
well,
giving the time of day.
Dude, this is so weird. So he didn't empathize with minority groups. He didn't have empathy. He didn't even get empathy until he was 32. It's like, of course he didn't empathize with people. He didn't know what empathy was before 32. He's like, I'd never empathize with minority groups. You didn't empathize with anyone. You didn't know what empathy was.
And so, yeah, it's been a slow thing. I think part of it as well was my exposure to a lot of, I guess, like-minded people, a lot of people who are in the same space. So like my, you know, other like commentary YouTubers that I've collaborated with, interacted with, a lot of people kind of on the edge of the, you know, either like probably mostly on the top of the alt-right funnel, you know, where they're bringing people in sort of like, I don't know, in maybe kind of a naive way. They don't really even know that they're doing it. They're just kind of like apathetic. And yeah, I think more exposure to these types of people just made me realize like this isn't really like the path I want to be going down.
Wait,
and
what?
More of that exposure made it more and more.
Sorry, I'm
where they're
confused.
bringing people in sort of like, I don't know, in maybe kind of a naive way. They don't really even, you know, people kind of
I lost
it's been
complete
a slow
track.
thing. I think part of it as well was my exposure to a lot of I guess like-minded people, a lot of people who are in the same space. So like my you know, other like commentary YouTubers that I've collaborated with, interacted with, a lot of people kind of on the edge of the,
you know, either like probably mostly on the top of the alt-right funnel, you know.
So he thinks other commentary YouTubers are on the top of the alt-right funnel. Who did he collaborate with? The only person I recall him collaborating with is Ethan Klein, and is he saying that... Because if you go to his channel and you look for who he's collaborated with, the few people that he has, it's like... the most visible one is going to be Ethan Klein, and then you also have like the random cameramen that he picks up, who I don't even think they do commentary, but I don't know who he's talking about collaborating with. So maybe they were like 10 sub shitter channels like me, and they were right wing, and then he also had to get rid of them. But let's see if he mentions who they are.
And sort of like, I don't know, in maybe kind of a naive way. They don't really even know that they're doing it. They're just kind of like apathetic.
So they're dog whistling?
Yeah, I think more exposure
without
to
knowing
these types of people
whistle?
just made me realize, like, this isn't really like the path I want to be going down. And more of that exposure made it more and more obvious.
So you decided to stop being funny because you thought being funny is like a dog whistle?
One thing I've been curious about is the level of vitriol from the people who used to loved edgy IDubbbz is like just out of control. I have no idea like how you continue to exist online with like the level of vitriol you have to put up with. Like
probably a lot of the people who are accepting accountability are the ones who are disappearing on the internet. And
wait, like who?
I think Anisa and I, like, I don't know, we we call it like just being a fucking cockroach, basically.
Whoa, what are you talking about? Who are you calling a cockroach who left the internet? Wait, what? Wait, I'm sorry. Did I misunderstand something? Is he calling people who are good and left the internet cockroaches?
Sad that probably a lot of the people who are accepting accountability are the ones who are disappearing on the internet. And I think Anisa and I, like, I don't know, we we call it like just being a fucking cockroach, basically. And I think the first example that we saw of like a cockroach in our like world on the internet is Keemstar. And he just like persisted.
Friend of the show. I cannot believe that dude is still fucking like around.
I can't either, dude. I can't believe he's still doing his thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's probably like been blocked by so many people at this point that he probably, like, for a lot of us, like, he has
Keemstar
to
is running like one of the most successful channels ever right now. Well, probably not in like the top 10, but definitely in the top 100. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like in the top 10 either, honestly. But I think a lot of people, when they don't like someone, this is like I think this is like one of the differences in personality thing, and it's why I think Ian doesn't have the personality to shit on people anymore. I do think he had a big change, is that he doesn't keep track of the people he doesn't like. Locale Live and the Locale like series in general are insanely profitable, work super well. Not to mention all of Keemstar's other projects. Meanwhile, Ian doesn't have anything. His channel isn't successful. He probably gets like a little bit from what are they called? Like views on old stuff. In general, that he has the personality to keep track of things. Sorry, I like rerouted there. He's probably making like pennies from like views on old stuff, if he even has it monetized. Because I don't know if he would like. I don't want to make money from old videos I disagree with. He doesn't have Creator Clash anymore either, because he gave that away. That's currently being run by oh fuck, I had the name up, but the touring, real good touring. What else does he have? Like, as a business, what does he have that's so much better than anybody else? I don't know, hierarchy of successful channels? Ian is, like, almost close to the bottom. He's, like, a washed-up nobody now. Not a nobody, I guess. I just don't think that he's doing anything. Maybe washed up is the right word. Well, yeah, I didn't argue with that. Whatever. You guys get the idea.
But I know he's out there scheming.
Scheming and keeming.
Yeah.
Keemstar doesn't care about IDubbbz.
But I think for Anisa and I, it's just like, I don't know, we it's like a frog in boiling water a little bit. Like, I was still like loved by the internet when Anisa and I got together, but I was able to feel a lot of the pain that she was feeling early on. It still wasn't like, I don't think I was fully grasping how terrible it was, because things were good for me, not so good for her. In fact, it was mostly just bad for her. And slowly over time,
whenever
with
she
more
came out with an
exposure to
OnlyFans?
like, you know, the trolls and everything, I think we've become very resilient to it because it just, there isn't, I don't know, like it's almost like it's kind of, I compare it to going into the boxing ring. You know, people are like, oh, isn't it so bad? Isn't it so scary? You have so many people watching you, you know, 10,000 people watching you box. Are you gonna shit yourself? And I'm like, no, there's too many people to worry about anything. They become noise. So I think, you know, if you have,
did I miss a segue?
Compare it to going into the boxing ring. You know, people are like, oh, isn't it so bad? Isn't it so scary? You have so many people watching you, you know, 10,000 people watching you box. Are you gonna shit yourself? And I'm like, okay, no, there's too many people to worry about anything. They become noise. So I think, you know, if you have less of an audience or like less people looking at you, it is actually weirdly more intimate, and it does like affect you a lot more. And you know, you want to keep track of your socials, see what people are saying. You're having fun interacting with people online, so it becomes a lot more personal and intimate. And it's like these relationships aren't just, you know, noise.
Yeah.
So it's all just noise. In my opinion, whether you have one viewer or a million, it is kind of just noise. I guess if you're being more specific, he's talking about how much more he likes having his like shitter podcast with 10,000 views than he does 1 million, 10 million followers, 10 million views on any other video. I mean, you can do both, right? You don't need to only do one. I actually don't like it when people start podcasts and then cease working on anything else, because at that point you're running purely on personality, whereas if you're making a project, you're not running on personality, you're running on product. And if you know, make something good, people will like you even if you have a bad personality. Or, well, it's not, maybe not a bad personality, but one that's just not conducive to a podcast, let's say. Why do you care that much whenever you're also not making any money? I mean, that's another big part of it, is that like it feels like a lot of IDubbbz current stuff, like making videos again and getting more into the drama, is just to make money, because he says in like almost every interview that he hates being popular. So I don't know.
That makes sense.
It seems he's very cynical.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, going
or
off
he's
that,
lying.
Sorry. Going off of that, you, since especially recently, kind of coming out, and of course we're gonna touch on the whole Ethan Klein situation. So I feel like that's what's elevated, especially recently, all of this drama to a different level, where slaptubers, which for people who don't know, I guess I don't know.
A podcast is barely above slop tubing. Let's be real. A podcast is almost arguably worse, because a lot of slop tubers still interact with their audience and have to edit. And most podcasts have almost no value, like in terms of their production. It's like I said, it's extremely personality based. Your personality has to be conducive with all the other people.
Know a true definition of sloptuber, but like my definition.
Oh, he doesn't have one.
For sloptuber is also like what like imagine what TMZ is, but like for like just like drama of online personalities. It's like it's hyper online TMZ. It's not like celebrities. It's like it's Keemstar. It's like it's that.
I mean, how are you any different? You're just talking about recent events and old people.
This type of person, I guess, is like what a sloptuber is. People covering drama who talk about drama is like a sloptuber. Do you think that's like correct?
Yeah, that's accurate.
Well, then they're Jesus. God. It's okay to be a sloptuber, okay? Piggies need their slop, okay? To take a note from fucking Pyrocynical. One, people really like it, okay? There's no reason that you shouldn't fucking slop tube as much as you fucking want. But it's fine to like slop. It's totally okay to like slop, to talk about drama, to be into TMZ. Not all of your friends might like it. Almost none of my friends like slop. They like to hear about like maybe one or two specific people in their path, who they watched in high school or during college, and they're like, oh, that guy's crazy now, or oh, that guy did something cool. But it's only slop whenever people have something negative to say, or they're just covering it. But whenever they have something positive to say, it doesn't seem to be slop anymore. And I don't like that. And even this, I don't know. Podcasts are slop for the most part. I think there's a couple that aren't, but for the vast majority of podcasts, they are like one of the easiest things in the world to do. They just cover recent events just in their life. They're cutting out the reporting part because they're self-reporting.
As you were saying that, I was wondering, like, because I had my own like policies for how I was making content and like boundaries, like you should call them ethical boundaries, for when I was making a lot of these videos. And I'm like, I wonder what differences there are between some slop tubers where they're like, oh no, I won't touch that. Like, you know, I only do 10 videos per person.
They don't talk about the Black Israelites. They won't talk about the Black Israelites. But wait, so I think of, when you say slop, I just think of me turning on a Mr. Beast video and enjoying my slop.
What I will say about Mr. Beast is at least he has production value.
That doesn't. That's not. Nobody agreed that was the definition of slop so far.
Of some sort, like, you know, he might be demonic, but he does have production value. Satan
Don't talk about Jimmy like that, please. I know he's listening.
He's a friend of the show.
Poor people with pageantry, you have to give him that.
Some flavor, like some sugar in it, at least.
Yeah,
You know,
$100 million.
addictive sugar. But like I feel like with this, I even hate calling it drama, because at the end of the day, it was you kind of taking a stand of being pro-Palestine and not giving into like calling people who are pro-Palestine like terrorists and terrorist sympathizers. I don't think that's drama necessarily, but the way that
it is absolutely drama. None of these people are like actually dealing with the war, and they're involving their personal issues and personal insults in every single bit of it. It is absolutely drama. And I don't know. I like it just is. There's nothing not drama about it. How is it not? Because like I don't get it. It just is. You're just wrong.
have handled talking about this has like made it so personal. People like Ethan and some people on Twitter that cover this make it about themselves so often, when that's not what any of this is about. You know, like there's people in Palestine dying every fucking day. I think over the weekend, just on Saturday alone, like over 100 people were bombed and killed, and it's like so many people just are taking, like, being very opportunistic to grow an audience, talking about interpersonal drama rather than like things that actually really matter in the.
Well, if you're talking about something that really matters in the world, you're still taking advantage of those people, arguably for like a worse cause, right? Because you're specifically using the suffering of those people to grow your channel, to grow your income, versus people who are just like, Dubble called Spiggle a frickin' Kriggle a bitch. And it's like, I mean, isn't that better? Isn't monetizing off of like inane bullshit much better than monetizing off of 1,000 people getting bombed? And it's like, no, because they're talking about the real issues, so they deserve to get money because they're doing something honorable and cool. They're not helping the people. I don't even know if they're raising awareness, because everything, like, we've already gone through the drama about everything being like a bubble. It's not creating you're barely like revealing to new people that things are happening, because all the people who care already know. And you might enlighten a few people who don't know, but you may also, you know, create people who don't care or don't like it
in the world. And it feels almost inescapable to like engage with it, because it's just a constant barrage of, oh, you're a terrorist sympathizer for saying free Palestine, all of this sort of thing. What was the
thing? There are definitely some people saying that. I don't have it on me, but there was a clip of Netanyahu saying something like, free Palestine is the same as saying HH, which I, you know, completely disagree with. That's like evil. That's crazy.
Because like Ethan was a friend of yours. That's not easy to like have a friend where you just simply disagree and felt like you needed to speak up in a way.
Yeah, well, I think Ethan made it really fucking easy for me. I think honestly the only like
did he? Because it seems like again, nobody changed their opinion.
You know, like the whole creator clash thing.
Their opinions were either just reinforced or
it makes me sick to see him like, you know, using the event
nothing
to
happened.
like, attack me back or whatever. But yeah, I'm not you know, associated with anymore. But yeah, I mean we had been seeing fucking Ethan's rhetoric over the past, you know, year.
Ethan's rhetoric? Who's that?
And it was upsetting and it was annoying. And like there had been times in the past, I can think of one other time where I was like, okay, I'll like message Ethan about something on his podcast where he's getting a little too fucking creepy or weird with it. And
did
I
you?
remember doing that. I think it was related to like a David
I
Dobrik thing.
hate
He was
this.
just like getting super
I
into the drama.
hate that Ian just cites things without providing anything. I mean, it's not his podcast, right? So maybe the editors fucked it up. But like, I really dislike people who I mean, I don't like when Ethan does it either. I want evidence for these things, and you know, they are private messages, so whatever. But like, come on.
And I was like, this seems like kind of
How can we believe anything without that kind of I don't like it.
like we're getting into like weird territory. So just as a friend, I think I either called or texted him about it, and even that I felt like, oh, he's a fucking adult. I should just let him do his shit. Like, this is his show. If he wants to like do something irresponsible, he can do it. So that's been like my policy from that point on, was just like, all right, this is his crazy show. He can do whatever he wants on his crazy show. I won't get involved. But then he started talking about us, and it's like, okay, fuck you. Like, it's just so, I don't know, man. It's
Okay, look, this is a bit of a leap, but I want to go through with it. I want to say it. I'm gonna say it. How is it virtuous to raise awareness, but then quit on your friend who you believe is like completely in the wrong? These people's morals are fucking like everywhere and nowhere. I'm gonna say like a billion times because I watched too many California movies. How do you fucking do that? How do you fucking criticize people for like not spreading awareness, reward people who do, and not criticize Ian for not going harder on Ethan, if that's something you care about? Because it seems like he's actively not spreading awareness. I also don't think that he did message Ethan all that much.
you know, Anisa and I have our, you know, we're very pro-Palestine, but I'm certainly not like as vocal as she is about it online. But you know, I think fucking Ethan can do a fucking vibe check and know, you know, where his friends are at online, even if they're internet friends, even if they're, you know, you're just seeing their tweets mostly. You can put things together, and I think
No. He's your friend. No. You're fucking me. There is no way he said that. There's no way he just said that. You can vibe check. You can look at tweets to see where our opinions are. Where is the fucking tweet from IDubbbz saying that he's pro-Palestine? He can vibe check? Okay. How can he vibe check you when you're literally signaling nothing? IDubbbz said nothing about Palestine. I don't even know that Anisa did before all this stuff went down.
it's an active choice to be like, no, I'm gonna pick a fight with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did you?
I mean, it did seem like you were choosing the side of the person he was already fighting with. So I don't think that's totally accurate.
I feel like you kind of have in the past couple of years carved out like a pretty like nice niche for yourself. One of the things that I think went really
pretty
unnoticed
small, tiny, unprofitable niche
by a lot of people in your video, in your new content cop, was you were like, I don't give a shit about viewers. I'd rather be, doing a podcast about Vampire's Kiss for 3,000 people, which respect.
Great movie. We talked about that. We
As somebody who's actually done a podcast about Vampire's Kiss.
Can they ask him how he's surviving? That's what I want to hear. They're not, because this podcast is all about sucking up to their guests, probably. They're sucking up to people they already like and have no judgment for. Can they ask if he's actually like making money?
Kiss for probably less than 2,000 people. Agreed.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, this really it feels very much like you are back in a certain kind of spotlight, for better or worse. And does that? How are you feeling about that?
I mean, that's the fucking, I guess, good side of jumping back into the drama slop. But I do feel, I guess the reason I brought that up is because that really is the. I described this to the therapist that I had on the in the video, Kurt. So,
He's not your therapist.
out of psychology in Seattle. But there was a moment where we were talking about it, and I was like, yeah, it is like the fork in the road. And I don't think it really I so badly want Ethan to understand, and fans of Ethan understand that what he's doing on his podcast is the most uncreative, non-special thing that you could possibly be doing as a content creator.
How do you get to say that? How the fuck do you have any right to fucking say that? Jesus Christ. Really? His podcast? Dude, he has 8 people on his podcast, and they seem to work together pretty well. What fucking right does he have to say that? Jesus. My lord.
The content creator, he really like promotes the idea that he's getting so many views and things, and the numbers are great, and he's making money and all this sort of shit. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you've been fucking making money for the past decade. Like, you've been.
So wait, is his point that like no one cares, or is his point that like it's unnecessary to say that? Is his okay.
Been doing well online. You've been surviving. That's great.
He hasn't been surviving. I'd say he's been thriving.
But like, you've chosen essentially the Keemstar path. Like, it's just branded a little bit
The
differently.
Keemstar
like, it's a
path?
little Keemstar. Like, cool. It's just not. I don't know.
Where's
It's,
Ethan's
you have to
lookout
make a
live?
choice, I feel like it's at some point to take a path of like, you know, less views, less viewership. You need to like figure out like, I don't know, what makes you funny, what makes you special. And I don't think Ethan is taking the time to figure out at all.
Ethan, you should sacrifice your career and everything you've worked for so that you can make a 10K view podcast with Ela and talk about bullshit and the like most recent movies you've watched. Seriously? What? Jesus. This guy sucks.
What makes him funny or special or flexes creative muscles.
That's like one of.
I mean, I do kind of agree in a sense. It can be kind of boring. He wants something special to happen again. So like I get that. But like, I mean, come on, aren't you doing like the same thing almost? Where you have like, you know, your 10K views. You're not doing anything creative. Oh no, you reviewed a movie? That's fucking insane, dude. That's the most creative thing you possibly could have done, is review a movie on a podcast for 3 hours where you don't even actually talk about it all that much. Wow. You are so much more creative than Ethan. You've really found your fucking juices, dude.
The things that I think a lot of us notice with a lot of YouTubers, where they might see a dip in views. Like, that happens to a lot of people over like lifetime, just being a content creator, posting online, doing anything like that. And the temptation is always that I feel like we've seen, especially in like the era of Donald Trump too, is to lean into like, oh, anti-woke. In the past, like in the 2010s.
No,
like,
this is like the perfect time. Do they not like? Have you seen Hassan's numbers? They have not been doing better since Trump got into office. This is insane. Like, the only time that Hassan gets more views than now is whenever whenever the election cycle is on. And that's it. That's like the only time Hassan is getting better numbers, is whenever he like brings a new peak to Twitch by reporting on the fucking election. And so it's like, oh, you have to be anti-woke to get views now. Not really. I mean, it's definitely easy to be anti-woke, I guess. But like, fucking Jeremy, the quartering, is begging for money. He's literally like not doing anything. I don't. Okay.
Anti-feminism. We saw that a lot.
Sorry, I meant that by IDubbbz is literally not doing anything. And so let's see, who's an anti-woke guy who's really been succeeding? Well, I guess they consider Keemstar to be anti-woke, right? They consider who else? I mean, that's kind of all they mentioned. I guess IDubbbz would have been anti-woke at one point, right? Because whenever, in my mind, whenever you're saying anti-woke, you're not talking about Keemstar. I don't think Keemstar cares all that much. It's probably somewhere in the center left, center right, whatever. Jeremy the Quartering, Sargon of Akkad. I guess Arch Warhammer? Oh, you can't be called a Warhammer anymore, right? You have Arch, who's like anti-woke. You have Kershey. Kershey is anti-woke, I guess. And she's semi-popular. And I think there's like other anti-woke people who just focus on being entertainers. The only other person I know of who's anti-woke who IDubbbz might be thinking of is probably like Sam Hyde. Because... But then that's fucking Ian's fault. Ian's the one who got Sam Hyde popular.
now it's just like vaguely anti-woke, like Palestine, anti-leftist sort of content. And
Anti-Palestine? Who are you fucking talking? Oh, maybe that's Ethan? Ethan is the anti-woke leftist? Not even certain I agree with that.
And so many people, because I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily enjoy, like they don't make content because they enjoy what they do. They want to make content because they want to like have that be their career, which like is a great aspiration. Well, maybe not. Like maybe that's actually not. Maybe
the most evil aspiration there is.
Yeah, that's actually, I totally take that back. That should be punished by death.
This is why it's the.
So I can't tell if that's like a real joke or not. Do you actually think that they should be punished by death? No. Do you think that's actually like a good aspiration, is to make a career out of entertainment, like social entertainment, like YouTube and stuff? Or do you think that it's, you know, evil? I don't know. I think it's totally like fine to make a career out of entertaining people. Lots of people have like bad days and they need entertainment to get through it. A lot of people need something to like fill the time, fill their second monitor so they can be more productive. I think it's totally okay to be a social entertainer.
This is why it's the Chinese century, because it's all of our children's aspiration to be online content creators.
These people know nothing about China. These people know nothing about fucking China. China has VTubers too. China has like politics and drama streamers too. They're not as like notable as we have in the USA, but they have plenty of stuff that we would consider, that they would consider like to be almost the exact same as American entertainment, American drama. Theirs might be a bit like, sometimes I think it's more dramatic, because it's like, oh no, fucking this guy said something about the CCP, we should kill him. Stuff like that. Or like, this guy said something that we need to, I don't know, whatever. You guys get the point.
No, yeah. But Ian, to your point about like Ethan's, you know, stuff that he's even just like producing right now, I think the thing that makes me sad about it is like, I used to be a fan of this guy, you know what I mean? Like I think he was at his best and doing something special when he was being like a silly guy making stupid shit, you know what I mean? And like lighthearted stuff.
So then, do you? I don't like these people very much. Do you not think the same thing about Ian? About him not being super funny anymore? I kind of wish that Ian would go back to being funny. I think that would be pretty cool of him if he went back to being funny. How do you say that? How is? It just feels very unself-aware.
That was fun, and I think that's like a lot of the people that used to be friends with him were like, yeah, that's the guy I like, you know, a lighthearted, fun guy who's
he was like a goober. He was like a
silly
There was
guy.
a better place
you
when
know?
Ethan Klein was doing Vape Nation.
Yeah.
Oh wait, do they consider Ian to still be fucking a goober because he like talks about fucking Cheez-Its or whatever? That's kind of stupid.
And yeah, it was. And yeah, I don't know. It's sad. Like, it's all of it. It makes me really, really sad more than anything.
I mean, I think there was always kind of a vibe of I don't know. I have thoughts. I don't like I have feelings. Like, I relate to Ethan. I think in specifically.
You guys both kind of had like the same kind of like, oh, I gotta kind of reconcile with my past moments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I relate in that way, but then I also relate in the way that it's hard. It's hard to be funny, and I can tell that bro really like admires like a lot of these comedians that he's had on his show. I think he wants to, you know, be something special. I think he wants to be an entertainer, but like it's gonna take a lot of fucking like pain and hurt to actually discover who the fuck you are, because I don't think he knows who he is, to be honest. Like, just seeing the type of content that he's making, it just doesn't feel. I mean, he's fucking like debating, you know, Sam Cedar and Hassan on his show, and he's getting angry about it, and he's calling himself the legend. Like,
yeah, like I watched some debate with Sam Cedar, and then
I thought everyone asked for him to debate these people. And why is it so evil that he's debating? Like, I don't. Isn't that a step up from being a slop tuber? Is like actually putting your like virtues to the test, your morals to the test? Why is it so evil that he's debating people that were like, I don't know, this seems dumb.
I think, sadly, I hate that I watched all of the one with Hassan and Ethan. It was painful. Yeah. It was like 5 hours of just like Hassan talking about like, oh, this and this about Palestine, talking about like the actual issues, and then Ethan was like,
the actual issues
on January 1999. Explain.
He was talking like the Joker. Yeah, he sounded like the Joker when he freaking. All right, wait. I don't want to. Let's talk about you, Ian. I don't want to
Okay.
talk about this shit. It makes me fucking want to.
I mean, to be honest,
blow
like,
my brains out.
I only talked to Anisa about this, and you know, it is kind of fun on occasion, I will say.
See, that's the thing. That's what's enticing about the like slop.
I know.
We're making slop right now. We're making the slop.
Well, it's
Yeah,
not just
you are.
You know?
Yeah, and I think we try to generally avoid that. Like, I think we try to talk like at like a higher level than like specific people, because at the end of the day, it's not always that useful to like get into it in the drama.
I don't know. There's something to be said about a dumpster fire you can warm your hands on. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other thing I'll say is like, when you brought back the content cop format, I was like really like, oh, is this going to be a thing where it's going to feel completely different? But it didn't. Like, it had the same bite. It just also had things that I was like, oh, wow, okay, yeah, he really did. Like there is a lot. Like, you basically like saying like, hey man, I'm worried about you, and I understand that you feel alone and isolated. That is not the kind of kindness that anyone offers anyone online.
What the fuck are you talking about? This is one of the things that's like, I don't know, insane to me. Like, one, it really didn't feel like a content cop at all. He dressed up in the first 5 minutes, didn't do anything super funny. There weren't any like bits or sketches, and content cop was also known for like going hard, being like very harsh but like meaningful. And I don't know, I feel like so much of this is just like ignoring so much stuff just to get your point across, or just not even to get your point across, just for like brownie points or whatever. And then also missing like everything the person you disagrees with says on purpose, or not even missing what they're saying, like intentionally ignoring it. Again, it's also Hassan talking. Sorry, God, so confusing. Hassan talking about the real issues. Hassan also thinks that the fucking Jews can just go back to wherever they lived before, like Iran, Egypt, whatever other places they were expelled from. Hassan doesn't even think that Jews were like properly expelled, and thinks it was all like false flag attacks. So I don't know. I don't think that like his opinion matters all that much, because he just doesn't care about facts, I guess, or doesn't believe them to be facts. Whenever you can just look at Iranian law and see that Jews aren't allowed back in.
Friends or otherwise. So like his anger with you and like unwillingness to see that you like actually like, that felt big to me in a way that like it's not something you see very often.
Well, I appreciate that. I think that was it's always going to be hard having that, like, I don't know, that sternness or some biting moments, but also
that sternness, dude. That wasn't stern at all. I don't think you had that many biting moments. I don't think that was all that good. What biting moments? I hope they cite one.
to say like, hey, like, you know, we know you're human too, and it seemed like he and others, his fans, like interpreted it as like just super like, fake, insincere.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. He did acknowledge that people thought it was insincere. Okay, cool.
But I don't know. It was sincere. That was kind of, I don't know. Hopefully to the people that, you know,
Can I ask, Ian?
Maybe Ian thought it was sincere. How does he get around the fact that like Sean said that he wishes he didn't say anything because he recognized that Hassan didn't say anything? I think Frogan's response also kind of eliminated the fact that she could have been sincere. I don't remember it exactly anyway, but like I feel like any after effects or even current effects kind of disproved that. So I don't know.
Do you think it's possible that Ethan does have a kind of moment where he reflects on this and realizes, oh, fuck, maybe I was wrong about some of this? And if so, like, what's it going to take?
Well, no, he's like, good question, person. I need to take my jacket off. But no, I think Ethan has firmly held beliefs that he has. You know what? Let's be generous towards Ian's side. That he believes that his facts are completely correct, and that Hassan's facts are wrong, and Sam Cedar's facts are wrong or misportrayed or whatever. Why would he reflect and think I was the wrong one whenever he thinks that his facts are correct? Now let's hear Ian's response.
That's a good question. I don't think so, because I think right now it's just I think he would need to lose a lot of money.
Do you think that's just all?
No way. I forgot that he said that. What the fuck? He needs to lose money to accept. He needs to be demolished. This is such like a power thing, I feel. Like, he needs to lose power before he's able to accept our position. What a feudalistic point of view. What a fucking I'm the conqueror, you're the conquered kind of view. He needs to lose power.
Financial then.
Yeah, because the money is the power,
Serve
and
me
he
a
just kind
fucking
of
drink,
gets
dude.
what he wants through the money, whether that's, you know, the lawyer shit, like I can control and lord over people with the threat of lawsuits.
Oh, I'm assuming that's a reference to the Noah Samson thing. Which I don't know. I don't think anything's really been revealed with that. It might have.
And, you know, just essentially paying employees to not, you know, talk back to him. And then also just not being generally financially strapped in your way of life. You know, if life is cushy and you don't have to, you know, you can afford to hire another nanny or another housekeeper or something. Like, I just don't feel like it's ever going to be uncomfortable enough.
Couldn't be me, fam.
Yeah.
So it's just never going to be enough. I don't know. I just feel like that's such a horrible way to think. Yeah, just be demolished. I don't know. He needs to lose his lawsuits. He needs to get a notch lower. He needs to lose his money. In the IDubbbz content cop, he said that Ethan deserves like a bloody nose, a bloody face. He needs to get beaten down. So, I can't say you look exactly that good to people who recognize that you're just, I don't know, it just feels like he's trying to beat him down. It doesn't feel like he's trying to change him. It's like, accept my ways or perish. It's like, you need a smaller that's another thing. He's like, you need a smaller channel. You need to be creative again. Yeah, fat load coming from you.
Well, you wanted to change the subject, Lolo. What do you got?
Okay. Yeah,
I was just
I'm
gonna say
really, I'm so high right now. Holy shit. No, wait, hold on. I got it.
Great podcast prep, guys. Getting high before the podcast. Good job. Get high on your own time.
Let me pick up the ball right here. It's all right. Let's talk about. Sorry. I think.
I'm not saying that this couldn't be a good podcast. I think it actually could, because they actually have a lot of access to people who you would want to ask questions to. I honestly, Ian's been kind of like self-destructive anyway, so I don't think it's like that big of an issue. But like, I feel like you could ask better questions if maybe you were more mentally prepared, but probably if you pre-prepared.
Sorry. Well, I was gonna say,
This is going to be great.
No, it's good.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be funny. Okay. I think, Ian, I think you're a very good model for like maybe what masculinity could look like on the internet, for coming from somebody who maybe used to be someone that was not a good role model.
What's your question
for young men?
Jesus Christ, dude. I think Ian's like a horrible masculinity model. What makes him good? Is he gonna say?
Do you think that like back in
He
the,
agrees?
you know,
Wait, no. No.
for coming from somebody who maybe used to be someone that was not a good role model for young men. Do you think that like back in the
Okay, so he agrees that he's not a good role model, but that Ian is?
You know, X number of years ago in YouTube, when you were doing all the stuff you were doing then, do you think that there was kind of the male insecurity that was sort of disguised as...
Okay, wait. So he's asking him if he was insecure, and that's why he was edgy. He was edgy because he was insecure.
confidence? Like, do you think that that was the audience? I don't know.
100%, yeah. Like, that was me, and that was the audience for sure. I'm trying to see if I can fucking glean any specific details in that.
I guess like, do you think that's like a symptom of like, I feel like so much conversation, we've had so many, like, the society has had so much conversations about like what is known as like the male loneliness epidemic or pandemic or whatever, and it seems like it's just like only gotten worse since those days. And like, let's be real, I mean, for people that weren't really around in like 2010, like in terms of like active online or like old enough to remember, but like 2010s were pretty reactionary, and it's like I feel like the mid 2010s and like the mid 2020s kind of are a mirror of each other, but only a lot worse. Like when there was like there's
Okay, this is going nowhere, so I'll just make my point. I think that Ian, by saying that the other guy's a bad role model and that he didn't say whether he was. I think that was a pretty vague statement. I just feel like that's very not humble. And it's so hypocritical, because like his entire point, forget hating Ethan Klein and concern trolling. His entire point is that Ethan needs to be humbled, and that'll bring him back to the route of good and virtue. He said he thinks that he's a good role model? Okay. That doesn't seem right. That seems kind of broken, actually.
There's like a million more of the type of people who would maybe be considered like the lonely male who is like edgy and like what
Yeah.
do you think it'll take like just a lot of introspection or like branching out of like, because there's so many of these like
hard.
entertained influencers that are like trying to influence these like young men.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so hard because maybe part of the problem as well is my brain often wants to do something kind of bad where I'm like, I almost want to like conflate the people like where I was at with like an incel, like the most rabid incel on the planet, and be like, yeah, it's kind of the same person. But I guess it's probably healthy to remember that is a little bit more of a gradient, and some people are almost on their way. Some dudes are like, getting a partner away from being woke.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think we probably just need a lot more, I don't know, people top of the funnel. And I think maybe on the left, we have a hard time doing that because it does feel very like all or nothing, I think in a lot of ways. And it's hard. I'm going to be honest, like since like making my apology and kind of like showing a little bit this side of myself, it's made me realize like, oh shit, like I can hardly like get down with even my like more moderate friends, like because they're like, I have friends who felt like a tremendous amount of like uncomfortableness around me and like guilt after my apology, like because they.
Well, wait, I kind of missed the context of this, but I don't care. After your apology, so okay, wait. Actually, no, I do need to hear more about what he's saying, because either he's thinking like people are feeling guilt because they're like, oh no, I was also edgy. Oh no. Versus people who are like, you're kind of cringe, bro.
They themselves felt some amount of like, shit, like now I'm gonna have to like apologize, or now I'm like, you're the start of something, or you're judging me because I haven't done this. So it made them.
Oh, that's very different. That last thing he said was pretty different from the rest of what he said. So yeah, I can kind of understand where that's coming from, because if you were like really good friends with Ian and he's suddenly coming out and he's like has a big personality shift, I don't know, maybe you would assume that's like, it seems like a pretty big personality shift here. Are you going to dislike me now because I don't share your politics? Because let's assume this was like a shift over a few months, right? Are you going to be lumped in with all these people who maybe we previously took issue with, or something like that, right? I think that's a pretty reasonable concern to have. And I feel like, yeah, let's see what he says.
Comfortable, just me doing that. So,
and I think like something that like a reason why it can be maybe hard is it's not profitable. Like I hate to like kind of go back to this, but it's not profitable to be like the most woke person or like apologize for things that you've done. It's so easy. I'll be so real. So easy to not apologize and just lean into like the worst possible behaviors for depending on what kind of behaviors. It can be very profitable, especially these days. We saw I think her name is Shiloh Hendricks, made like $500,000 for.
I think I know who that is. I think Shiloh's that one lady who got like $1 million for saying the N-word, I guess. Oh boy. Actually, I feel like it's kind of harder to not say an apology. Not literally, but I feel like it seems like every time somebody's in a controversy, they have like an internal need to apologize for it. That's happening for ages.
Saying the
closer to $1 million now, yeah.
Oh, fuck, disappointing. Like there's so much. There's a system in place where the powers that be are like so likely to support super reactionary rhetoric, and there's just like not really that on the left, because of course there's not. There can't be, and that's why.
I mean, wait, why can't there be that on the left? Well, I wonder if he would have the same opinion during the Biden administration. I don't feel like Trump is promoting that many reactionary voices. I think he is a bit reactionary, of course, but like I'm not seeing Trump with like giant public spectacles with Jordan Peterson. He is with Elon, right? And then I don't see him with Jordan Peterson. I don't see him with Sargon. I don't see him with like people who I would otherwise consider to be like the most massive reactionary voices. He is with reactionary. It's just not with the celebrities I would typically associate with it, I guess.
So I think like earlier when I mentioned that it was like you're like a lone example of someone who was like kind of maybe edgier and like closer to that world of like reactionary politics, which I don't think you were ever reactionary. I mean you can tell me if you were or not. I think you were just kind of like at the time more like liberal, but like doing stuff for shock value. I don't know if that's like a good read of what you were doing, but there's so much more incentive to be an awful person for profit than there is to be a good person because there's not as much profit, and that's the hard thing that is hard to overcome for like the left.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, it's really hard to make it to incentivize just being a good person and just like trying to do better. Because it's hard to be like, oh, I'll feel better about myself. It kind of feels like I don't know, it's just so the opposite. Like I guess as an example, I think Cody Co is kind of a good example. Are you guys familiar with his controversy?
I heard about it. I don't know what happened. Really.
I am not. So what's going on with that?
Yeah, so super popular commentary YouTuber. He's kind of a bro guy, and it was like revealed that he slept with a 17-year-old or 16-year-old Tana Mojo. Oh. And there's a big, commentary boom of like making videos about him and saying, oh, piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. It went on for a few months. He never like apologized or really addressed it. He just kind of did the, the typical thing and just, I don't know, he stopped posting for a while and then he started posting on like a very like a separate channel, like his fitness channel or something. And you could tell that there's like a lot of fans who are like super addicted to his content and they just will like fucking refuse to like hold him accountable. And so he has like a little sizable following.
Didn't Tana Mojo herself say that she doesn't actually care that much about the Cody Co stuff? I'm pretty sure she kind of like let it out during a weird moment. I don't know. I definitely think that's weird. Don't get me wrong. That is very fucking weird of him. But if she's not making a stink about it, why would you imagine that like her and his fans would?
And I just like every time I click on one of these videos,
the issue isn't with the situation. I do think that's a very like odd, bad situation. The issue is more with IDubbbz interpretation of it.
And I'm watching him. I'm like, oh, that fucking like. This shit like could have been me. This shit could be anyone who doesn't like.
Whoa! You could be the one with the 17-year-old. I'm sorry, IDubbbz. What?
Wants to do an apology or take accountability to some extent because taking that fucking hit is like so important for you to like not come across as a fucking weirdo for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. Like because it's almost like he's still hiding like a secret, but he's making public videos all the time. So every time you watch him, there's a vibe and it's totally off. And I feel like maybe the incentive is like, hey, you can fucking speak your mind and you can speak freely and get whatever you want off your chest if you at least own up to your shit. Like,
I think the thing is that like, I think that people learned that if you don't apologize and you show no contrition, then you don't have to feel bad. You can just be like, well, I did it. What the fuck do you want me to do about it? Oh shit. And then
I think that seems to be mostly true. Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't sound right, but I can't quite put my finger on what I would mostly criticize about that. It generally is far better for your channel as a business if you just power through a drama and keep uploading. There are very few situations where that's not the case, and whenever so many people, including the victim, don't actually care that much, it's definitely going to be a lot easier just to power through it versus not.
I feel like I'm sitting there though, man. Like I don't know.
I mean, for a normal person, sure. But also, I mean, I think the thing you said about Ethan earlier, like money is an incredibly strong incentive.
True.
But I think it's not just. I mean, yeah, the money stuff. It's all that too. I think it's also just people feel like it's not worth the trouble and worth the headache sometimes to apologize for something. And I mean, I've definitely felt this way about stupid shit that people were flaming me for online, where I'm like, oh wait, am I ableist because I suggested we start a commune and didn't think about the disabled people and didn't mention the disabled people? Like, yeah, I'm a eugenicist now, but like,
oh, dude, this is cringe.
I think it sort of runs a gamut, right? But there are times where, I don't know, for me personally, I've hurt myself so many times in terms of making money, like all the time. And I don't give a shit because at the end of the day, I feel good about myself. I can put my head on my pillow every night. I can go to sleep. And the thing is, like, Ian, like, you know, I respect you so much. I mean, I know back when you made the apology video, we talked.
So, I don't know. These people are communists, so they don't respect making money. I feel like if you have money, you are able to forward your causes much more easily. And using your power goes much farther if you have the funds to do so. I don't feel like that's crazy. It's like, it feels like all these people either don't realize or completely disagree with the idea that if you have more money, you are able to do more things in this world. Because, like, as of currently, it does seem to run on money. So if you have it, if you want to say, donate to a charity, well, you need money to donate. Seems better than not having money in most cases.
At that time, and, you know, Olayemi had you on, and, like, you did the interview, and you didn't shy away from tough stuff to talk about. You know what I mean? Like, that takes fucking nutsack. Like, for real.
People don't want to do that. People just
don't want to fucking do it. And, like, it does suck. It does suck. And, you know, people that don't like you are going to keep fucking hating you. People are going to say you're fake. People are going to say you're insincere, detractors, all this other shit. But the truth is, like, you have my forever respect, dude. Like, for real. You have my respect forever for doing that.
A genre of post, I think you guys have probably seen this too, where someone will post, there's just no incentive to be a good person. There's no reason to be a good person. It's so much more worth it to be awful to each other and hate each other.
I mean, can you define what a good person is for me? Because it seems like okay, I'm trying to think of, like, who is a good person. Well, Mr. Beast seemed to cure a shitload of blind people and builds wells in Africa and fucking donates a lot of money and makes I wouldn't say his food is particularly good. I wouldn't say it's bad. I haven't had any. What's good, I guess? What's good, brother? What does being a bad person mean?
And I think there's just like a sickness, and I don't know where the true source of this has started from. Maybe it's just because we're all terminally online and see the worst shit every day. But there's like a true crisis of nihilism just ingrained, and it's like you have to resist that urge. You have to be like genuine. You have to be real, way more than embracing pure nihilism and detachment from each other. You know, it's so much easier to just be like, fuck this all. I don't give a shit. It's so easy to just do that because you don't have to think. You don't have to like reflect. You don't have to do anything like that. And I don't know. I guess just for
I mean, I think nihilists actually typically get there by reflecting so much. Actually, they just don't reflect in a way that you think is correct, or you don't consider that they're reflecting, or something like that. But nihilists do reflect on things. It's typically reflecting almost too much, actually. Not that I am one. I don't get it. How do you hate nihilists? Aren't you a nihilist?
For people listening, just don't embrace that nihilism. Like, especially in the world that we're in right now, there's so many nihilists that just want you to embrace your like worst traits, dunk on people in ways that will maybe ruin their lives, that don't even deserve it. It's so easy to embrace that line of thought, and I don't know. I just hope that more people will maybe take the path that you did. Yeah, it's rare. It's rare.
Yeah, it's super hard.
Ian, do you feel like, I think it's interesting, I was at the last creator clash, and after your fight, you know, I know it's like very emotional after a fight, but like after your fight, you were crying in the ring, and I feel like that was a very vulnerable moment in front of like a shitload of people, after you were just getting punched repeatedly in the fucking face, which like I would also be crying, but this was like emotional, very clearly emotional crying.
No, it's all physical, dude. That hurt.
No, it hurt. But I feel like in terms of modeling this thing, like I feel like you have embraced this kind of like a love centric ethic. Do you feel like even doing inside of the charity stuff with the boxing and all this stuff, do you feel like that's the case, or do you think that you
described it as a love ethic? Love ethic. Love ethic.
I love that.
Yeah, I think so.
That's kind of beautiful.
Yeah, I got some love ethic going on. I think for me to get to that point, I think I kind of like realized that like once you kind of drop the fucking, once you put down the haterade and you're done like constantly hating on other people and shit.
Oh, it's so addictive though. Oh
yeah. Well, you kind of like you're left going like, well, what is the alternative? And I think realizing that the alternative is love and is
what the fuck does that mean? The alternative is love?
You know, caring for something, you know, bigger than yourself, and, you know, just trying to do right by others. I think that is the answer. And, you know, like you guys were saying, it's not really super incentivized.
No, it's not.
But it does feel good in unexpected ways. And that's like my best selling point for it, I think, is the joke.
Also, I don't feel like the Ethan video was love, really. It very much felt like a hate video. I don't know. Especially when you said that he should get punched in the mouth. That didn't seem like love to me. That was a
just say like, yep, it ain't gonna feel good right away. It might not even feel good in a year, but eventually you'll realize that it was worth it.
Dude,
The true incentive is to go into Elon Musk replies and ask him, sir, can I suck you off, please? Please, permission to suck you off, sir? That's the true incentive. Kind of going.
Can you read? Wait, can we read that one tweet? Can we pull up that one tweet, please?
The permission to suck you off, sir? Was
the
it
one,
that one?
Bro? I would take care of you, bro. Wait, can you read that?
The guy who's like,
I would hate it if my wife would leave me, but I would take care of you, sir.
It's actually, wait, is that
No, he was like, yeah, my wife would hate it, but I would sleep with you to make you really happy or some shit like that. Yeah. No, that's a classic reply guy moment. Yeah.
I've got a question. We've talked a lot about like, accountability and criticism and stuff like that from like a good faith perspective. But how do you first of all, how do you distinguish it? And then like, how do you deal with bad faith criticisms? Like the ones that Ethan is kind of hurling at you every day. Like I saw his Instagram story a couple hours ago. I don't know if you'd seen that one, where he essentially indirectly blames you for the Israeli ambassador that was shot yesterday. It says that could have happened to him. There's no difference between those two people being shot, and blames you and Hassan for it. Like, what do you even do with that?
You're cooking today, Caleb. You're cooking.
I don't understand this at all.
I say that because I'm that's my next video is talking about not specifically that, but concern trolling, and just how it plays a role in kind of all content creators' existence online. But yeah, I mean, I think the answer is that it's fucking hard, and that's kind of why I like the content cop format and like doing some big punch randomly, and then just like letting shit stew and letting people talk amongst themselves. I think other people kind of do a little bit more back and forth, but it really stresses me out. I don't like it. I don't like that Ethan is talking about me fucking every day on his Instagram, or talking about Anisa every day on his Instagram. It's creepy and it's weird.
I mean, you encourage this. This is like the fight that you picked. He doesn't think that he picked a fight because he was being quote unquote good. He was being nice, and he was serving a big old fat heaping of love versus what he actually did. And it feels tactical. It feels completely, I don't know. It feels fake. It feels unreal. It's all a show. It's an act. It's a personality. It's a persona that Ian's putting on, because like it feels so obvious. Like if you just take things at face value, you can't say that you want to punch a guy. You can't say that you want his reputation destroyed, his channel destroyed, his income destroyed, his employees jobless, essentially, and say that you love him, and then not think that you're drinking the haterade. I don't know. It feels stupid.
And I would hope that like through action, people could put the pieces together that like that's unreasonable behavior, and it's definitely coming from like just an insecure, weird little place. But that's I think the audience that he's targeting. So naturally, he's going to. I mean, at this point, there's really no more people to fucking kick off the shit. It's all just a bunch of demons in your audience.
There's, another thing that reinforces that sort of behavior, where like, not even Ethan, he's not like the only one. This is just like a thing that happens all the time, where someone will come out and maybe blame you or Hassan or whoever, it doesn't matter. And there'll be like a lot of right-wingers filling in replies being like, wow, I didn't expect to agree with this person today. And they get that like love bomb effect. It like reinforces the like, oh, people that maybe don't like me, like me.
Actually, has Ian said like anything positive about Ethan since this whole thing dropped? I feel like there's nothing particularly respectable about anything that Ian's done, really, about the Ethan Klein situation. You can dislike Ethan and still hate IDubbbz. I think that's totally reasonable at this point.
Me all of a sudden, and maybe that feels good. Maybe I like that. Maybe it feels
right
nice.
Is so much better about that than the left, because they will 100%.
They are.
I mean, you fucking Russell Brand, convicted or allegedly a rapist, and now he's like the.
Oh yeah, that was actually kind of a problem. I think it's fine. I think you can actually disagree with Ethan a lot. You can have a completely different opinion than Ethan. You can have the opposite opinion than Ethan. And you still find IDubbbz to be like wrong and annoying.
Darling of the right somehow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They'll just take anybody who is convenient for them.
Yeah.
That's such an interesting one. I have been noticing a lot of that, like why like right wingers kind of saying like why won't you fucking tolerate us? Like, we'll fucking tolerate anyone and everyone. Like, we're the more tolerant group, you know? And
Just not all the people we're deporting currently.
I mean, that's the meme, right? I don't know if it's what Ian's referring to. It might be. The meme, racists will accept anyone as long as they're racist. What was it? There was like a white guy who moved to Africa who was like, I wish I could find the clip. I had it saved, but it's like probably like a few hundred videos in my phone folder ago. There's like a white guy who moved to Africa, and it's like, hey, you hate black people. Why did you move to Africa? And he's like, well, because they hate black people too. It's just really funny. But the meme is generally like, racists will accept you no matter what race you are, as long as you are also racist. I don't know how to feel whatever point they're trying to make.
Yeah. But it's just, yeah, it's super, I don't know, man.
It's like racists are super accepting as long as you want to deport people. I mean, like, yeah, a lot of modern racists aren't like, I hate, they don't think that like they hate, I mean, they dislike the actions of a particular race or whatever, right? But they believe in like essentially every state should be an ethno-state, which doesn't mean that, you know, black people don't have a state or anywhere to live. It means that they have their own state. It's like a lot of people associate like all right-wing isms with each other. Same thing with left-wing people. Or same thing with like a lot of right-wing people assume all left-wing people think the same thing. But it's not like a monolith. A lot of left-wing people think that all right-wing people are like religious. You hate any race, any particular race, and you are also an imperialist. So you want to create like a theocratic empire, essentially. That's what I think a lot of the most terminally online extremist leftist people think. Whereas right-wing people think that all left-wing people like believe that the Soviet Union was good and that gay people fuck goats or whatever, something like that. And it's totally wrong on both sides. It's totally fucking wrong. They don't understand that a lot of these are like individual beliefs. Like individual people have like one or more of the most extreme thing, and it's not like the same for every single person or group or whatever.
What would you?
It is very creepy.
What would you say to you from like 11 years ago, or I guess like 20? I don't know, 2015 IDubbbz.
Well,
keep going, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be like, put a little bit more in crypto or something. I don't like. I say what I'm saying in my videos now because that's something that I can't really let go. Is I've talked about in therapy a lot. I'm like, I don't want to specifically talk to a now strictly like left-wing audience and be like, you're my new audience, because that's what fucking Ethan did. That is some like lame loser shit in my mind where it's like, you are not acknowledging like what you believe and where you've come from. You're just swinging on to the next fucking branch or whatever. I would like to speak to little Ian.
Wait, so, oh my God, wait, what? So yes, okay, wait, I'll just let him finish the point.
I would like to speak to the friends of little Ian, because I think little Ian is misguided, and hopefully the way that I'm phrasing things will fucking access something at some point in his brain.
Something that I'm curious.
So, dude, I just feel like I had my front lobe wiped. What he would say is that he would want to talk to little Ian. That's it. He didn't say what he would say. He just wants to talk to little Ian. Okay. All right, buddy. All right, whatever. That's rich. Can you answer the fucking question? I think that was a decent question to ask, actually. It's a shame you didn't answer it. Also, what friends? Shit. What friends does he think that were bad to have? Because I thought Ian was an introvert and basically made videos with most of his friends. I'm not exactly seeing what... Who's he talking about? Filthy Frank? Max Mofo? Chad? Ethan? Anisa? Who is he talking about?
curious about, just because I find this almost mind-blowing, where I think in one of the responses, one of the many responses that Ethan had to the content cop was, he was like, when talking about you, he was like, that bridge is burned. We will never be friends. We will never do this. Never, never, never. We will never talk ever again. Stuff like that. And to me, I like let's be honest. Like every person in their life, you're lying to yourself if you say no, unless you're just a perfect person, unless you're Jesus fucking Christ. Like you mess up in friendships. You mess up in all sorts of different relationships with people, and it's hard to admit like a fault or come back to that person and have like maybe a tough conversation to like rebuild a friendship. Because like how do you, for me it's like, how do you just drop like a history? Because you and Ethan have been friends for almost a decade, I think. And to me, watching him be like, no, it's over forever, is just like kind of sad, because I don't know, like we're all we have as like humans, and like if you had like a history together, don't you want to just like at the end of the day, I don't know, just apologize, and like, and not that you're supposed to do.
I don't know. I don't care that much. There are 7. Wait, are we up to 8 or 9 billion people on the planet so far? I don't think it's actually that particular big of a deal to like be fucky-wucky about a history that you had with a person. Also, like, that same thing can go for, like, I don't know, I just, did he despawn? Oh no, he's there. Doesn't the same thing go for Ian? I feel like it does. Like, how did he just throw away a history with like, all it took for Ian was to say, I think that CPS going to your house was a bad thing, and I think you're a decent father. He still has literally not said either of those things. And all these people are like, oh, but Ian, you know, Ethan was so in the wrong because he said that he didn't want to continue a friendship with you. Dude, you literally didn't defend him against a kid saying that. And it's so, like, is hypocritical the correct word here? I don't know that it is, but it definitely feels like it. Like, how are you supposed to be like, yeah, I can't believe Ethan dropped a friendship for me. You didn't defend him, and you outright attacked him, and you fucking agreed with all of his enemies. So yeah, like, why should Ethan be friends with Ian? Why should he want to? That's so stupid. That's so dumb.
Do that with truly evil people. Let me be clear. I don't think Ethan's truly evil. I think he's very misguided and maybe just a little too in his own sauce a little bit in the moment. But I guess my question is, after all of that, do you see yourself maybe one day rekindling, like if the option were to be there, like a friendship with some of the people that are now calling you the demon or like a terrorist? Do you like,
I have not seen Ian be called a terrorist or a demon.
I feel like I know the answer because you have the love ethic or whatever Lolo
right. Yeah. But I do think there is always, because that's not, I don't think that's very strong to, you know, it's not black and white. Right. And I think you do need to set boundaries, and I think Ethan would have to, as an example, but there's many other people, but Ethan as the example, would have to crash and burn and get hurt in a very life-changing way.
I hate this. Dude, that is so that's so evil of you. That you have to, oh man. Like, how can he say that? Dude, come on. Also, how are the other podcast hosts not like picking up on this? That like this guy who holds so much fucking love for Ethan is like, yeah, he needs to crash burn. He needs to fucking ruin. He needs to be left in ruins, in fucking smolders. His fire needs to go out so he can burn bright anew, because he's evil, I guess.
Not physically hurt necessarily.
Right, yeah.
But if he wants to do boxing...
I mean, necessarily. He doesn't need to be hurt necessarily. But then also in the last video on the content cop, he's like, Ethan needs to get punched in the mouth. Yeah, good job. Fucking covering your bases there.
Like, I'll fucking, sure, I'll do it. But yeah, hurt in some way, feel the fucking impact and the weight of, you know, his actions. Like, that's great. And
is that what like you felt when one of the things? I mean, you mentioned how Anisa challenged you, but like, did you see like what your actions were causing, and you're like, fuck,
yeah, big time. And it's just been like, you know, it's been a lot of different ways. You know, it's been friends. It's been just, you know, reflecting on the content that I've put out there, just kind of even just reflecting on what's coming back at me. You know, the fans who are clearly fans, clearly subscribed for a long time. Now I'm seeing their rhetoric on my content cop video about H3. Like, I'm like, ooh, like I could look at your comment history and see that you have been here a while. And I was feeding you shit that didn't make you a better person in my mind, or it certainly didn't help.
I was feeding you shit.
I don't know, with time.
One of the things that I always think about.
I mean, that's not
inconsistent
with anything else we've said in the past like 5 years.
When I see people who have embraced a certain rhetoric or get people who are reactionary and get really defensive. I think of Ethan. I think of journalist Jesse Singal is a great person. I think of all the time because his whole thing is like, if you don't know who he is, Ian, his thing basically is like he started writing articles about detransitioners, and trans people got very upset because they thought that they weren't particularly accurate, and he was like, well, I'm a science writer, I know what's up, and I'm just asking questions. But like, if you look at the people who are embracing his work, which are some of the most virulent, disgusting, transphobe right-wingers in the world,
he was cited. He was recently cited in.
He was cited 6 times in like the recent Trump guidance for gender affirming care for minors. Yeah, and I feel like for a normal person, it would be a huge wake-up call that terrible people like what you are doing, and are, but like, and like, I feel like that is a thing that that's a feeling you had. But like, I think that there are people who get very defensive of an opinion they have and can't let go of it, and don't seem to notice that the people in their comments, or the people responding to them, or the people following them, are just vicious and vile in like ways that are shocking.
I mean, then that behooves you, okay? If you think you're so fucking responsible, then that behooves you to change their fucking minds, right? I was like, I'm not responsible for what you think. Why do you care so much about Ethan then? It like, I don't believe that any fucking YouTuber actually has like that much responsibility over their audience. Like, there's a little bit. You shouldn't like advocate for crazy shit. You shouldn't like be evil, whatever. But shouldn't advocate for harassment or anything like that. But like, come on. If you think you're responsible, that's a different ballpark.
That's a good point. I think it's very easy to cope and ignore your peers when you're in that space. Because now I'm trying to put myself back in 2016 IDubbbz brain, and there was a little bit of that vibe where, you know, I would have been excited if like someone I fucking respected and thought was smarter than me if they followed me, but that never really happened, you know? It was
Oh. I feel like this is fuck, I used to know the word for this, but I can't remember. It's rewriting history. Historical revisionism. This is a word that communists love. It's historical revisionism. Because he was super happy whenever fucking whenever Ethan decided to like hang out with him. He fucking ate chicken out of a dumpster for Ethan. Like, come on.
Basically just fence riding people who followed me, and a lot of fucking just random commentary people, and you know, maybe some alt-right people as well. So it never really clicked in my head, I don't think. But I did have a suspicion. I was, oh, you like me for a reason.
Did you
wait? So even in okay, whatever. I'm not gonna keep saying it. He thought that like even people. He thought in 2016. This is so confusing. He thought in 2016 that people who were watching him were alt-right, which at that time alt-right was like Richard Spencer types, right? That was like Richard Spencer. I don't know if Nick Fuentes was relevant at that point. Was Trump still considered alt-right at that time? I think so. Not certain. So he was like, oh, I'm attracting a group of alt-righters and that's bad in 2016? That seems pretty irresponsible of you, dude.
Did you ever, I mean, on the flip side, have you had people message you or come up to you and be like, hey, I grew up too. I used to be a fan. I mean, I'm a fan, but I grew up also.
That is like, yeah, those, I just had one the other day, and Anisa and I walked to an ice cream shop near us, and this guy, man, the
Fucking Ian in his little propeller hat walking to an ice cream shop with holding his girlfriend's hand.
demographic is also just a lot more, I don't know,
Oh, that's not bad. That's kind of cute.
less fucking mouth breathy or whatever. They, yeah, he was just like super sweet, and he's like, I don't want to fucking interrupt you guys, but I really, like, I love the change you guys have made over the past couple of years, like, keep on doing it or whatever. And I've done a lot of private messages like that. There's this one in my Instagram that I saw recently where someone said, I was watching your content videos when I was 11 years old, and you're bad unboxings. And then it's a long-winded kind of explanation where he's at now, but he's like, yeah, but your fucking abortion video was awesome, and I've, changed my perspective on a lot of these things. And I'm like, okay, well, fucking sweet. I love this shit.
So what you're saying is you're
what abortion video?
And you're bad unboxings. And then it's a long-winded kind of explanation where he's at now, but he's like, yeah, but your fucking abortion video was awesome, and I've changed my perspective on a lot of these things. And I'm like, okay, well, fucking sweet. I love this shit.
So what you're saying is you're the Joe Rogan of the left.
I'm the Joe Rogan.
Let's go.
No,
Boxer
he's
UFC, I think. You shifted kind of like your politics, so we found today the Joe Rogan of the left. Yeah.
I will say that is something that I always admired about Joe Rogan. I'm not super into his politics, but I love that he seemed to be a man of many hats, and it just felt like he would, doing all these different things would lead you to a pretty fucking wide perspective of being able to understand a lot of different people. I don't think that's entirely true for Joe. It's a little bit like fucking meathead UFC focused, but yeah, I think
He's also too rich now. He's too rich. I feel like when you get too rich, it's like it's too much.
Your incentives change.
Jesus. I think you can be rich and still have good, like, I don't know, opinions, politics, whatever. I don't think your incentives change all that much, because usually people who get rich desire money and continue to get more money. So, like Bill Gates, for example. Bill Gates always wanted to be rich, and he always wanted to promote like small businesses, and that's why he promoted like Doom on Microsoft, and that's why he got Bungie and all that other shit, right? So, he also donates like a shitload of money to malaria and cancer research and fucking AIDS research and like a ton of shit. Like Bill Gates donates a lot of money that gets a lot of progress done for the good in the world. But like, I feel like this is just like I don't know, kind of like a bad judgment.
Yeah, when I get super rich, I'm immediately going to stop having opinions on the internet. Fuck off to an island. I'm not going to give a shit anymore.
I think we're starting to wrap up here. We're coming out an hour. Is there like any like message you haven't put in a video recently or put out there, or maybe something you want to reiterate, just like a parting message to people?
Oh, I think I've had a lot of parting messages in this. As far
Yeah.
but,
Fair enough.
I mean, I like the challenge of trying to come up with something. Well,
If you don't, alternatively, because so you stepped away from Creator Clash. Are you still?
Okay,
like,
this is
boxing,
what I
or are
wanna
you, like,
hear
done with
about.
boxing? Because to me, as someone who grew up doing Taekwondo, we had like all the gear, all that sort of thing. I fought people with all that gear on. Boxing seems fucking terrifying, and you lost a fucking tooth doing it, right? Like that's an actual you lost a tooth? No.
It's just me being cool.
Oh, see, I thought you lost a tooth because I saw that in your recent video. I was like, oh, did he like actually straight up lose a tooth from
I
this?
do like that people think that though. That's like a nice connection. Cause
Yeah.
You should just Ian, you should just lie and say, yeah. We'll edit this.
seriously.
Ian lost his
We'll
tooth
edit
boxing.
it. Yeah.
Okay, cool, thanks.
But so no, like even if you're stepping away, are you like still like boxing? Is that like a hobby you won't let
Yeah,
go?
totally.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with it. I really want to eventually get like a
Wait,
win.
what? Dude, I hate interacting with Ian's opinions so fucking much. I hate it because it feels like he contradicts stuff every couple of like videos. He stepped away from boxing because he doesn't want to he doesn't want to box because it's dumb or whatever. And then suddenly he's like obsessed with it for somehow. He doesn't even want to participate. Like, okay, look, my whole thing. Oh, hi. My whole thing is that I actually thought that Ian was going to fight because he was looking for fighters who would kind of be in his weight class the whole time. So whenever he comes along and he's like, "Oh, I don't care about boxing. I don't care about this stupid dumbass event," and then is at the same time, "I'm obsessed with boxing. I want to do it every chance I can." Well, that's pretty different. Those are two pretty different opinions that I don't think are very compatible with each other.
publicly on TV.
Yeah,
and
Paul or Jake Paul, one of those two.
yeah, something like that, or whoever, someone a little bit weaker, maybe.
Someone in your class.
Yeah, that'll be cool someday. But we'll
Hell
see.
yeah, well, I'm rooting for you.
Thanks.
Do you think? Would you say that marriage was a content cop for your soul?
Oh Jesus!
Yes,
Lolo,
yes.
I love high Lolo.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We had to do this. I'm sorry.
You guys
Is there anything
laugh,
you'd
but
like
I thought that was like, yeah, he's spit. That's true. It's
Is there
cringe,
anything
but
you'd
true.
like to plug before you go?
Nah, just fucking love ethic. Love
Let's
ethic.
go, baby. That's the name of the episode. Love ethics. I want to plug. Wait, I want to plug Ian's squirrel videos. He rehouses varmints in his yard.
That's a
Does he
slur
still
in
do
the
that?
Oh, sorry, it is. Oh my god.
varmint.
Oh my god. I just said a
Content
slur.
cop, dude.
Oh shit.
Fuck. So wait, explain. You find what, like dying squirrels on the ground and you
Yeah.
put them in a little box and nurture them.
Yeah, it's been a little while since I've actually done one of those videos, but
Yeah, it's
I'm
been a few
moving back
years.
to Canada pretty soon, so I might reboot that. Yeah, all sorts of varmints.
He said a slur. He said it.
Can't say the V word on this podcast, brother.
Alex, please censor that.
I'll censor Varmint. I'm not.
Oh, but
I'll
don't
censor.
censor.
I wouldn't look. I'm gonna be real. I wouldn't mind if he kept doing the scroll videos and shut the fuck up about anything politics or Ethan related, politics or drama related. I actually think that him continuing to do scroll videos would be like perfectly fine.
So the first
The V
one.
word.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. But yeah, and someone go on. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say that's it. Thank you guys for
Yeah,
having
thanks for
me
coming on.
the
Been a pleasure,
podcast.
for sure.
Y'all are very sweet, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for talking to us about things that are probably not easy to always talk
Just a
about.
bunch of
thank you so much.
Tommy
Oh, yeah,
gobbledygook.
Okay, well,
All right. Well, never mind. I retract June's thanks.
Wait, can you do one thing though before you go?
Oh no, this is gonna be like some little fucking. This is gonna be some
Lolo,
fan
stop it.
request or something.
Lolo, you fucker. You unplugged yourself again.
Lolo, no.
Lolo, you can just text me your request and I'll read it, and then you can edit it, so it sounds like you asked.
Yeah, I feel so bad for you, and we've kept.
I can do sign language, Lolo.
Turrets and
Yeah, what's your
cameras
skill
and
level on
shit.
that?
Fast travel?
I kind of prefer this is how it's ending. This
Lolo's
is
in
almost more
timeout,
fun.
dude.
Yeah,
We're about to get.
he's in like some sort
I'm
of
not gonna
like.
tell him that. He just texted me. No, I'm not even gonna read that.
Please, I'm begging you. You need to know.
I don't know
Yeah,
you.
you can read it. It's fine.
He
I'm
said, "Tell him to
judging
say
Lolo.
I'm gay."
Oh yeah. I knew that's what he was gonna say. I knew
I'm
that.
laughing.
All right, Lolo. I'm gay.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Ian, I appreciate it.
Have a lovely evening.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Well, that's that video. What did you guys think? I think IDubbbz is kind of a snake. I think he's a liar. I think he is not very smart. I think he's I don't even think he's very committal. He like he barely agreed with like anything they said on the podcast. Although I guess he like tacitly supports them. I don't even know if I would go that far. Yeah, I don't know. I think Ian needs to like reconsider his values, make sure that they're there where they are. Maybe he's done enough considerations, but like, damn, dude. It really feels like kind of is in like an echo chamber, I guess. Everybody's in their own echo chamber, right? Everybody's in their own bubble. You can kind of be in like an anti-bubble, but that's like the closest you can get to. Or it's just like you have stuff that other people are explaining or whatever. I just feel like there's very little value in a lot of what Ethan said during that whole thing. I don't know. I'm trying to like think to myself, what could fix Ian? How could we make Ian better? He definitely needs to reconsider whatever the fuck love and hate is to him. Because love, whenever he hated Ethan or didn't love him, I guess, kind of gay. He wasn't calling for his channel, his finances, his body to be destroyed. He was kind of just, I don't know if I would say normal, but he definitely wasn't as like aggressive. And maybe it's because he's picked up boxing, right? So violence is like less effective to him because he boxes. So he's like, ah, nothing bad happened to me when I was boxing. I get punched in the face all the fucking time. But like, I don't see very much good things that Ian is saying about Ethan. There's some graffiti here. I saw the fucking note for it. Feels like Ian should just, like, I don't know. I definitely think this is a greater part of the Israel-Palestine conflict. No, I'm fucking around. I definitely think that this is part of the Hassan conflict. Ian is just a proxy war for Hassan because why wouldn't he be? I do think he's gotten most of his opinions from Anisa, but they are still his opinions at the end of the day that he's deciding to retain. I don't know. I don't get it.